Hey comic fans, Mr. Q Comics back with another stack of books I'm psyched to show off to you guys here. Again, as usual, kind of a stockpile of a few different pickups at, probably two different shops this time. I can't really recall. A couple dollar bins, a couple grab bag finds, mostly going to be bronze and silver age in this one. I think pretty much mostly Marvel. I think there's a couple DCs in here as well. So only $1 bin book, and I've kind of got the last remnants. I think the last remnants of these grab bags I've been talking about in one of my local shops. They did some $10 grab bags. We got 7 books, a couple of big keys in there, which I've shown off in a couple videos that I managed to pull. And then for the rest of it, it's just kind of standard pickups, digging through back issue bins and the usual deals I'm hunting for. So let's jump in with the single dollar book. It's Marvel Age 25. Just an early Rocket Raccoon appearance. I think I've read it's like the 3rd appearance, but I'm really not 100% positive. I do, usually grab this when I find it in dollar bins. This is in really good shape, probably very fine, near mint. I've got a few copies of this. I like looking through the Marvel Age books, seeing if I can find some of those preview books that are in there. There's a handful, probably 10, 12 minor keys you can grab. Like the preview of Beta Ray Bill. You've got that classic Stan Lee cover. So fun digging through the dollar bins for these. And, it's definitely stuff you can find in the dollar bin. All right, first grab bag stuff. Modern. This is from 1992 into 93. It's Venom Lethal Protector. Mark Bagley art. Cool cover. Mark Bagley art. And David Michelini on the story. So this was at the tail end of my comic collecting as a kid. Got issues 1 through 3 in this grab bag. So I never read the series. It came out in the early 90s, which is right about when I had stopped collecting. I think I was heading into high school and, I guess leaving the kids' hobbies behind. But always wanted to go back and read this. As I understand it, this is Venom's first solo book. And I think this is where they introduce him as I guess we'll call it an anti-hero. That always threw me when I got into books, seeing Venom as a hero. I just always knew Venom as a Spidey villain. So to see him as a hero in the current iterations, I've been reading the Donny Cates run. Definitely interesting. Makes me want to go back and read this set. I think it's $6. I got to double check if I have them all. I think I do. I know I've definitely acquired this full run multiple times and probably sold them off a couple of times. So I got to see if I got 4, 5, and 6. I know I have multiple copies of 4. I just don't know if I have issues 5 and 6. So I know 4 is a key. First appearance, I think it's Scream, who I think is, that could heat up with the Absolute Carnage book here. I could have that wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head if it's Scream, but I think it is. Can't remember if there's any other first appearances in the run, but anyways, that's definitely a series I'm going to go back and check out, read through. Okay, this is one individual grab bag. Like I said, you get 7 books, so I got a full run of Thor Bronze Age, which is very cool. First issue, and this one I love. This is my favorite of the run, issue 214. These are from 73. This is Jerry Conway on the story. I think Jerry Conway did all 7 of these books. This one here is a minor key for Zor, the God Jewel, and it's an awesome, awesome Rich Buckler cover. I went through and I kind of had 2 books that right away jumped out with the covers, and it just turns out those are both the 2 Rich Buckler covers in the run. I just love the colors on it. I love the action sequence here with Thor swinging the hammer. Awesome. I did read the run. It was definitely good. I enjoyed it. Classic Bronze Age stuff. Kind of a 3-issue arc, and then kind of a 1-issue kind of filler issue, and then another 3-issue arc. So, and there's 215. So 215 was a Gil Kane cover, John Buscema and Jim Mooney art. Some are mid-grade. Most of them are probably in the very, very good range. Pretty beat up, but again, just great reading copies. 216. This is a Gil Kane cover, John Buscema and Jim Mooney art. I think I screwed up. I think it was John Buscema on the last issue. 215 was Buscema cover and art. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's John Buscema. That's the origin of Zor. And there we go. That was the Gil Kane cover. And 217, John and Sal Buscema on the cover. And I think it's just... John and Sal Buscema on the interior art, and John Romita on the cover. It was jumping around a little. I got my notes a little jumbled here, it looks like. All right, 218. This is my second favorite cover. Again, Rich Buckler. This one's got John Buscema on the interiors. And then 219 is John Buscema covering art. And the final one is 220, which is a Gil Kane cover and John Buscema on the interior. So pretty fun run. Again, for whatever that works out to. $1.50 a book. That's some good Bronze Age reading right there. $10 well spent, in my opinion. And I definitely take that cover on 214 and 218. I think those are just fantastic. The other ones are good. I just thought those Rich Buckler ones really popped with the colors and just the action on the cover. Great stuff. So, right, these are two books. I really knew nothing about the series. I saw other people showing it off. Hot comic alerts on Key Collector. I think this is tied to the Jessica Jones Netflix show. I can't remember how many seasons that went up to. I think I just watched season 1. Is it on season 2? Is that what it went up to? I can't recall. But this was hot because of that. It's Omega the Unknown, number 8. And this is from 1977. This is really high grade, VF plus or better, I would say. This has got Gil Kane on the cover, Roger Stern story, and Lee Evans art. I think this is the first cameo appearance of the second Fool Killer who showed up in that show, and I think this is the second appearance on Nitro as well. And they also had issue 9, which I think, and I could be screwing it up, I'm pretty sure that's the first full appearance of the second Fool Killer. So they were $5 a piece. I picked them both up. I don't know. I think it got hot and then it cooled right off, but I am not 100% certain. I didn't really dig the interior art so much when I flipped through them. So we'll see if I get around to reading those or not. Okay, a little more modern stuff. Got some stuff from 85. This is a different shop. It's a series I talk about all the time. I always pull it when I find it. Secret Wars number 10. This is from February 1985. This one's in really good shape. This has got to be very fine near mint, if not better. This is Terry Austin on the story. And of course, you got Mike Zeck covering art. I love Mike Zeck covers. I don't think he did all of it on the Secret Wars run, but this awesome Doom cover is definitely him. For whatever reason, this one always eludes me. I have multiple copies of all the Secret Wars books. I seem to find them fairly readily on the cheap, except number 10. I can never find copies of number 10. Maybe it's just one people grab because the cover's awesome. So, psyched to find another copy. I think I've got just a single one. I might have a second one. I can't remember, but it's always tough to find for me. I don't know why. So this one, again, really good shape. Psyched to have it. I have been stockpiling Secret Wars books, trying to piece together multiple runs to kind of sit on. I just think it's a classic series, and I have no idea what's going to happen in the MCU. But I mean, if you're going to see another big storyline, I don't know, just seems pretty likely you may see Secret Wars at some point. That seems like an awesome storyline to do. Who knows, though? Your guess is as good as mine. All speculation, of course. So, also grabbed what I always consider to be the DC's counterpart, also from '85. Both huge events in that year. DC's Crisis on Infinite Earth, issue number 8. This is in really nice shape, near mint range. This one was only $5. I think the Secret Wars 10 was only $4. So, for higher grade books, I was fine with paying that. Again, I find a ton of these Crisis books in the dollar bin, but I think 7 and 8, or is it 8 and 9, is the keys. So this is the Death of Flash, and the other one, the classic Superman holding Supergirl, the Death of Supergirl. I'm mixing up. I feel like it's issue 8, 9, but I can't remember right now. So this was in just great shape, $5. It's George Perez cover and Marv Wolfman's story. Could not pass that up. I got to double check. I was looking through my box, and I feel like I'm missing a few of the later ones, but I may have them mixed up with some of my other short boxes. I've kind of gotten a little scattered and disorganized, and I have multiple short boxes that are just kind of individually organized but not fit into all my other boxes, and I'm starting to lose track of all of these books and finding myself buying extra copies by mistake. So got to get organized. Not enough time in the day. All right, next book, some more Bronze Age goodness. Captain Marvel number 34. This is from September of '74. This is the first appearance of Nitro. Jim Starlin on the story cover and art. John Burnett on the And this was only $4, so couldn't go wrong with a key book for $4. Mid-grade. I never read the Captain Marvel run, but for some reason I've just been drawn to a lot of these books, especially the Silver Age stuff. I guess because for the most part it is relatively inexpensive, with the exception of course, the Carol Danvers keys, which have gone through the roof. But Captain Marvel, for whatever reason, seems to be inexpensive Silver Age books for Marvel. That and Strange Tales, I always can find them in the less than $10 in pretty decent shape. So I've been grabbing them when I can. The Starling stuff, the Starling keys can be through the roof. The stuff with Thanos, of course, but the early stuff, pretty affordable. So, psyched to get that. All right, did get some back issues for my #1 run, Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue 148. I don't know what it is, but so many of my shops always have these Spidey Bronze Age price. Just, I'll see this book for like $30. I'm like, I'm not going to pay $30 for Spider-Man 148. I don't. I guess it's a minor key. Professor Warren revealed as the Jackal. I don't think it's the first appearance of the Jackal, but finally found I think I have this and it's like really shredded. But this was only $5, mid-grade, probably fine range. It's from September '75. Jerry Conway on the story, Ross Andrew art, and Gil Kane, John Romita cover. So finding it for $5, and I can't remember if I actually have it or if I haven't had it. I can't remember. I thought I had a beat-up copy, but it's always pricey. So for $5, I jumped on it. And it's the first thing I go to is Amazing Spider-Man, and I just am not willing to pay, $10, $15 for these kind of books in the hundreds and 200s. It just seems way too much for me. But if I can find them for a few bucks, I will pick them up and add to my run. So next one I got was 162. This one's in really nice shape, very fine range. This was only $4. This is the first appearance of Jigsaw. Ross Andrew cover. I'm always butcher this name. Len Wein. I think it's Win story. Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito interiors from November '76. Jigsaw, that was probably one of the first villains I was introduced to when I got into comics. When I really started liking Spider-Man, it's because someone had given me a couple of Marvel's Tales reprints, and I think the reprints are from this actual storyline. I just remember the Cable Cars, the Punisher, and Jigsaw, and I just always remember Jigsaw, so psyched to find his first appearance for $4 in really good shape. So really happy about that. I don't think I actually had that one in the collection. Awesome Green Goblin cover, number 180. Anything with the Green Goblin, I love. This was $5, but man, this is in great shape. Same team as the last. Ross Andrew cover, Len Wein story, Ross Andrew, Mike Esposito interiors. This one's probably very fine near mint from May of '78, and this was, again, it was only $5. So for me, high grade, yeah, $5 is definitely worth it for this. But for the most part, I'm trying to piece together my, the Bronze Age stuff out of collections I can get, because it can get pricey. And if I'm going to be spending $15, $20 on a book, it better be Silver Age. That's the way I see it anyways. Big keys notwithstanding. So, all right, the same shop, they got in a whole bunch of Conan, and I had picked out the Red Sonja books a couple months back, and they just filled in pretty much the whole run, it looked like, with the exception of those. They had a copy #1, which I already have, but the back cover was missing, and I almost bought it, and I keep looking at it, because it was only $20, but someone else snatched it this time. So anyways, I did pick up a couple of the other keys. We've got 14, and I think he's got everything else. I just have not pulled the trigger on it yet. So Conan 14, this is in mid-grade. It's the first cameo of, and I'm going to butcher these names, Kulan Gath, and it's the first Elric of Melniboné, who's got quite the interesting costume. It reminds me of Garden Gnomes, the hat he's wearing. This is from March of '72. Roy Thomas and Michael Moorcock story, and Barry Windsor Smith story or cover and art, rather. Sorry. I don't know anything about this character, but I've always just kind of dug Conan. I like Barry Windsor Smith art. I do find this early Conan stuff to be a little different. You start seeing him take on his typical style. I know him from the Weapon X run, that's what I always remember him from. The Marvel Comics Presents, whatever it was, 82 through, I can't even remember, 72 through 84, whatever, the Weapon X run. I always remember his art from that and some of the X-Men books. But I always dig kind of Conan and anything medieval, knights and swordplay, all that stuff. So these were, they were good money. They're probably under fair market value, but $15 a pop. He had 14 and 15. Same team on 15, I think. Barry Windsor Smith on the art and cover. This one's from May '72, both mid grade. So this is the first full appearance of Kulan Gath. So cool books. I just, like I said, I kind of been cherry picking the Conan keys when I find them. It seems to have a bit of a resurgence, the Conan books, with Conan coming back to the Marvel Comics line in the past, whatever it's been, 10 months or so. All right, next I actually got a few DC keys here, which I don't typically pick up. Again, I'm not as knowledgeable with DC, so sometimes I will dig through his books and use the Key Collector app to pick out some keys. So we got Aquaman number 18 in really bad shape. It's got that date stamp, or that, I guess it's the UK stamp that I've probably seen on, that's probably been on a few of my books I've shown off here. So this is the Aquaman Marries Mira. It's from December of '64. Nick Cardy cover and art, and Jack Miller on the story. Low grade, good to very good. It's probably in the good range. It's got a ton of creases. It's dirty. A few little tears. The DC books don't seem to chip like the Marvel books do, but it was $5. So a key Silver Age book for $5, even a low grade, I will definitely be taking it. I love the... I was looking at this the other day when I was going over it. Those classic, just the scuba helmets, where it's just a fish bowl, and a random tube sticking out of the back. I think it's a riot. It's so funny. Look at the Atom. It's just a tiny little bubble on his head. So funny. All right, these were cool. Adventure comics, which I don't typically collect, but this one I liked. In this, he's got this whole collection where it's got these initials written on them, and I skip most of them because some of them are real bad, but that one's not too noticeable. So this is, Key Collector has this listed as a key. So the Bizarros masquerade as JFK, Marilyn Monroe, Jerry Lewis, and Mickey Mantle. It's Jerry Siegel story, Kurt Swan cover, and Al Plastino art. This was $10. It's in the very good range. It's from March of '62. Really don't have too much personal interest in the Adventure Comics line, but DC seems to have these series where they got, Jerry Lewis comics tying in with Batman. And for some reason, I dig anything from this era where you've got these books that have got, anything that the JFK, you've got Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra, that whole, I don't know, there's something appealing about it. So I thought that was pretty funny. So I had to grab that. And this is definitely something I have no interest in getting rid of. I just kind of dig that '60s pop culture stuff going on. It's a bit of history there. And I think it's kind of neat with what was going on in the culture during that time. And to have a comic book that, kind of puts that on display front and center, right on the cover. I think it's hysterical. Bizarro, Jerry Lewis, cooking some hot dogs for Bizarro, Superdog. What I'm drawing a blank. What the hell's the dog's name? Crypto. I think that was funny. All right, next one. This is Adventure Comics 346. And this one, I gotta say, some of these DC books, the covers are just pretty bland here. This is not an exciting cover. No offense to the big DC fans out there, but man, this is really pretty boring cover. This is the first appearance of 4 characters: Karate Kid. Well, it's right there on the cover. Princess Projectra, Feral Lad, and Nemesis Kid. And just kind of not exciting for the cover, but, it's in pretty good shape. I think this is fine, very fine range. It's from July of '76, and this was like $15. So I think this is also Jim Shooter stories begin on the series here, and it's Jim Shooter art and Kurt Swan on the cover. So he has a big run of Adventure Comics, and I just took a little time to kind of pick out a couple of keys that I thought were worth the price. And that one, just given the condition, I thought was a good book to have. I definitely dug the Jerry Lewis, JFK one a little better, just for personal reasons. But all right, anyway, he had gotten in some Tomb of Dracula stuff, so I dug through this. I think I actually picked these books up before San Diego Comic-Con, so Nothing had exploded with Blade, but I've found this book a few times. Tomb of Dracula, number 12. First appearance is kind of out of my price range and not something I'm going to put out big bucks for. I just don't know a ton about Blade. It's definitely a cool book, but that thing has been expensive since I got back into books. But I've come across the second appearance multiple times, and I will jump on second appearances anytime I find them when they're a good price. Definitely not bad books to pick up. Good key books to get. If you can't afford the first, might as well get the second. So this is in really nice shape. It's in the fine range. It was only $4. Again, this is probably a week or two before San Diego Comic-Con. He had a whole run of Tomb of Dracula, and these guys know exactly what they're doing. So all the big books are picked out, and they're typically sent to CGC, or he'll attempt to sell them raw beforehand if they're not super high grade. Which is, this guy gets in so much stuff that he will put out raw books in really good shape, for you to try and get before he decides to grade them. So it is the second appearance of Blade, Frank Brunner cover, Marv Wolfman story, and Gene Colan art. I did read this. Definitely, cool Bronze Age stuff. The art is great. Everything's going on it's misty, it's dark. It definitely has that creepy horror vibe. So good stuff. I think it's the only book I've read of the Tomb of Dracula run, but the ones I've been picking up, I am definitely going to go back and read. I also grabbed 13 as well. Similar condition, I lost my place on my notes. Yeah, this is also, I think, in the fine range. October 73. This is the Origin of Blade, and both were $4. So couldn't go wrong with that. Great cover. Okay, coming down to the last three books. This was just cheap, filling in my Spidey run, Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 3. He's got another copy much higher than this, so I lucked out and found this one. I think he had it for $10, and it's probably in the very good range. Stan Lee, of course, on the story, John Romita and Steve Ditko cover, and then interior, you got a lot of artists: Ditko, Don Heck, Marie Severin. It's an annual, so I think there's multiple stories, but Spider-Man Silver Age for $10, absolutely. Every single time, even if I have multiple, so... Great cover, a lot of stuff going on. I definitely dig that. I think the other ones he put out now are probably in the $25 range. So, and probably similar shape. I mean, it's only in the VG range, but still, that's good for me. This book, totally random for what else I got here. Marines in Battle. I think it's number 3. It's not on the cover. I have seen this sitting around, and this came from a separate shop than the other books I showed off. And it's a 10-cent cover. This is from 1954, December of 54, Atlas Comics. It's got multiple artists inside, multiple stories. I think John Romita does one of them, and it's a Russ Heath cover. I really don't typically pick up war books, but I saw the 10-cent cover, and it was $8. And when I started going through it, I realized this thing is in fantastic shape. I mean, you can look for something from the 50s. Man, every Golden Age book I find, you get some shadowing here, but the pages are white. They're not brittle at all. I went through this book thinking this has to be some sort of reprint. And that's how good a condition it was in. I was shocked. Every other, 50s book I find is chipping, it's flaking, the pages are tan, they're crumbling apart where I don't even want to flip the pages. This thing seems like, it's just in amazing shape. So for $8 in the condition, I grabbed it. I'm still almost, skeptical if it's that it's not a reprint. I'm wondering if I missed something because the size seems a little smaller too. But anyways, if I got screwed on it, whatever, it was only $8. But I don't think I did. It seems legit. So final book. I am super, super excited about this one. This is Fantastic Four, number 19. Beat up. Okay, this is not in great shape. It's the first appearance of Rama Tut, who becomes Kang, and what is it? Avengers, drawing a blank, but Kang the Conqueror. This is from October of 63, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, of course. And the reason I picked it, as you can probably see, right there. Not certified or anything, just done in ballpoint pen, but seemed legit to me. I really trust these guys. He had no reason to believe it wasn't legit. So he had this on the wall for $200, and I asked to look at it. and I went through, and like I typically do with books that are a big price tag, I take them out, I smell it, and I count all the pages, and I'm flipping through, and I keep coming up short, you know, I think 8 pages to the middle staple and only 7 to the back. And he counts it, and I count it again. And I'm like, well, it's definitely missing a page, and we could not figure it out. So he discounted it because it's incomplete. You know, it probably looks to be in the very good range, but it's missing a complete. I finally found out when I got home. Somehow the back ad page is torn out, and the front, part of that wrap didn't fall out, which is weird. But for me, the discount he gave me, he said, "Oh, give me 50," and I said, "Will you do 40?" And he said, "Sure." So for $40, pretty big key. I know it's incomplete, but Stanley signature, big key book. I have no Stanley signatures. So I was super psyched to finally get one. I don't care that it's incomplete. The story's complete with an ad page. It's a big, early Fantastic Four key. So excited to have that. Now, hoping the signature's legit, but it looks like it. It just seems like a weird, if you're going to fake it, you're going to do it on this incomplete book with a ballpoint pen. I don't know. It's also got a cool Walgreens store stamp, which I think is awesome. I think it's a Walgreens. I can't read where it's from, but that is super cool. So even though it's incomplete, for that price, for $40, Silver Age key, Stanley signature, all day long. So happy to get that. I will definitely treasure that for quite a long time. So that's the haul, guys. Sorry, just see I went up to 26 minutes rambling here. Sorry for the long video. But that is the haul. Big shout out, big thank you to all my subscribers. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and as always, guys, happy hunting.